Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. We got a great show for you today. Ken Hagan, chairman of the Hillsborough County Commission, is going to join us at 10:30, and we will get up into a lot of what happened yesterday in St. Petersburg as Mayor Welch picked the Rays Development Group, including Hines developers, that will help develop this proposed stadium in downtown St. Petersburg. But there are a lot of hurdles that still need to be jumped over, and we will get to that with Ken Hagan at the 10:30 spot, and we'll get into some Bucs news and everything else we need to get to today. First, we're going to start with Dr. Chris Lugo, who joins us here this morning, and we're going to from Bay Area Modern Medical Center because we missed him yesterday. We wanted to get him on all the stadium stuff tomorrow because we were out on remote yesterday. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Fantastic. And lots of, we talked a lot about the Patrick Mahomes injuries last week.
Yeah.
And you watched that game as I did and just marveled at how that guy played through that injury. I mean, you know how high ankle sprains are. You deal with a lot of it in the military and paratroopers. And what he went through and did yesterday or on Sunday was nothing short of a miracle to me. What a performance that was.
Yeah, his front line protected him very well. Like we talked about, his defense really saved him though, because the Bengals were just Joe Cool as usual. But defense made a big difference. But he hobbled around. He got through the game. Good for him. He's got 2 weeks to prepare and heal up as best he can. But I don't expect him being very mobile in for the Super Bowl level.
Even 2 weeks, and some of the throws he made in that last run where he got thrown to the ground out of bounds. I mean, just moving like that with a high ankle sprain from a doctor standpoint. When you look at that, what are your thoughts?
That he's taped up really good.
You can play with a cast on.
Basically, yeah, you can do a lot of things with the walking cast, and basically he had a makeshift walking cast on just to tape him up and keep him as restricted movement as possible.
Man, that was amazing. Okay, and we also got to talk about Brock Purdy. It looks like he has a tear of the UCL, the ulnar collateral ligament, if I'm getting that correct.
Yeah.
How long is that rehab going to be? And if he goes for surgery or what have you?
Well, that's Tommy John surgery, right? We deal with this all the time with our pitchers in MLB and all over the place. We got young kids playing these because they're pitching too hard too quickly, but. He should recover normally. He should have a fine offseason. We know you know many pitchers who have came back after that surgery who have thrown 95 mile-an-hour fastballs after that. So he can throw football after that. He should be fine.
I did the story one time with Cy Young Award winner Mike Marshall, who actually got into kinesiology and went to school and did a lot on the motor mechanics of pitching. And he came up with a windup in pitching that would not hurt the elbow because instead of snapping it like this, like you do a curveball, which is conflicting, right? Conflicting with your elbow and your shoulder. That's where all the arm problems come, where football players pronate, right? They go like this, so it doesn't create the same arm problems. I didn't realize that. That's why football players, quarterbacks can throw hundreds and hundreds of passes and don't have as much wear and tear as baseball players. So I'm guessing with that motion, he'll be able to come back maybe sooner than a baseball pitcher would.
Oh, tremendously. Yeah, he should be. He should be fine. Yeah. It's because how he got hit, that arm kind of extended backwards, got hit, and that just would torque him. That's the only reason why he tore that thing. But the question is it the anterior bundle? Is it the posterior bundle? Is it a partial tear, complete tear? That's also going to play into consideration. I don't think we know that information. I don't think anyone's shared that information with us just yet, but that's where you need to look at the anatomical features of that ligament, which is an anterior and posterior part, two pieces.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this, but I spoke to Ryan Jensen after the playoff game.
Oh, okay. No, you didn't.
And I asked him, I said, I wanted to see if he would tell me if they were doing stem cells. And I said, you're the first person that's ever played in an NFL football game after tearing all those ligaments without having surgery. Is there anything unique that you did? And he gave me this big smile. And he's like, well, We just did we did some forward thinking things.
Tell that Chris Lugo guy to leave me alone. Leave my boy Tom alone too. That's funny.
And I don't know. I don't know if is it. I mean, it's legal to use stem cells, right? But I mean, it's not like he's doing anything illegal.
Can't test for it. So you can't test for it. It doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
Lance passed many of drug tests, and he was tested a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're not suggesting he's doing anything nefarious, even if he did use stem cells, and we're pretty sure that he did.
Good for him.
That is going to be when this whole story comes out, this is going to be a major point of a medical breakthrough, right? That we can heal these major injuries without surgery.
And if I'm Ryan Jensen, I'm heading back down to Panama, Colombia, Costa Rica in the off season, and I'm doing it again. Yeah. That's if I'm Ryan Jensen, right? And then I'm going to work with PT and I'm going to rehab this, strengthen that leg up. That's what I'm doing if I'm Ryan Jensen, because I've got several years ahead of my career.
Right. Very, very interesting stuff. You also wanted to talk about some other things that you're doing over there at the practice. And it's not just for men, it's for women as well, right? Hormone therapy for women. So guys, if your wife's been a little crazy lately, of course, we are all saying that at some point of our marriage, right? Certainly I was. You're not talking to that. Nope. That's something that can really, really help. Tell me a little bit about the process and maybe the signs and I'm guessing between, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, these are somewhat awkward conversations. If you think somebody maybe needs some hormone replacement therapy, how do you, any advice there?
Well, like you said, unless they're like Ryan Jensen and they're forward thinking, most women want to hold hands of menopause and walk down that path with Henry Fonda, the Golden Pond, not me. But most women, so like I tell guys tell me, hey, my T level is I'm like, I could care less what your T level is. What are your symptoms? Someone posted something recently and she's like, hey, do you have this? She's quoting the Adams questionnaire, which is testosterone is about symptoms, not about numbers. Same thing for women. If they're moody, if their cognitive function is not the same, if their energy level is down, if their libido is down, it's just like men. It's a testosterone issue until proven otherwise. And like I said, there's no harm in going on TRT for 3 months and seeing if things improve. If they don't, stop. No harm, no foul.
Yeah. So, and what is the process? How does start with blood work? Tell me a little bit about.
So I always want to get blood work. I always want to start with the baseline labs. And the interesting part is, and Nick probably knows this too, but the most predominant hormone in a woman is testosterone. It's not estrogen. It's not progesterone. It's what we talk about the most because those alter their cycles. But testosterone is the most prominent hormone that a woman has, just like it is for men. Okay. But to letting them know that, hey, by the way, T level is important, just as important is important too.
I did not know that for ladies as well. So
correct.
Once you have the conversation and you get the blood work, and then it's what's the process from there? So
for my ladies, I like creams. I like creams a lot because women put on creams every single day of their life. We don't do that as often as they do. So they're used to it's part of their routine. And I want something they can do as a routine on a regular basis. I do have some ladies on pellets. They like being a little higher side and they don't like putting on creams. They're outside, they're doing stuff. They work in kitchens where they're sweating. They like the pellets more than they do the creams.
So guys get the jab and the ladies
I like how you put the jab. Yeah. Yes. Well, because guys are used to it. Guys can do it, right? Once I get them over that mindset of sticking a needle themselves, they can do it. But it's that first couple times they do it with me in the office. They're like, oh, this doesn't make sense. It does make sense. And then once they start seeing the differences, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. I think I don't trust guys with creams.
Why is that?
Because it's something they got to do day in and day out. Because at the end of the day, if they put it on first thing in the morning, at the end of the day, their levels are already starting to come down.
Right.
Or they forget the next day, or they forget to do this. At least the injection is once a week. Like, come on, you can handle that. You can handle plus or minus 1 day here and there, right?
It's so
easier. I got to dumb it down for guys.
That's exactly what you're saying in a more simple way. You got to dumb it down for it's Friday. I stick needle in butt.
It's Testicle Tuesday. It's my day.
I still to this day, and I think I've been self-injecting now for 6 years now. I can't do the plunge. I still can't do the plunge. I got to it's more of a hard, push. And I don't know why, but that's just the way it goes.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But it's funny that you have different rules for the genders, and that's right on point. Also,
not cookie cutter.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about weight training too for guys, because I know so much of guys think that cardio to lean up and lean out, and that's an old way of thinking, correct?
That is 1980s Richard Simmons jazzercise thinking. We're not in the 1980s. We've grown since then. As we age, here's the important. It's all the age limit we're talking about. So as we're getting older, 40s, 50s, 60s, weight training. Okay, that's important. It's because the stat, I think we shared this before, the stat that's out there at 65 years and older, if you fall and fracture a femur or a hip, 40 to 50% people are dead in 1 year's time. That's huge.
It's crazy.
The other 50 to 60% who survive are in very poor health. You've seen them at Walmart. You've seen them at Publix on a scooter. They look terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have osteopenia, osteoporosis. Weight training prevents osteopenia, prevents osteoporosis as we age. And I get some of my ladies telling me, I don't want to get big and bulky. I'm like, you're not going to get big and bulky. You're not 20 years old. Don't worry about that. And if you do, you should be ecstatic because you're going to get tons of compliments.
Right, right. And it doesn't necessarily mean heavyweight, right? Just weight training is
mix it up. Don't be afraid. So I'm doing a lot of my weight loss practice. So semaglutide, Ozempic, Mounjaro. I'm preaching protein consumption, and weight training. That is the most important thing they're going to do. The weight's going to come off, but people are talking about Ozempic faces right now, get all the wrinkles. That's because they're losing lean muscle mass.
Right.
They're not losing all that fat. They're not consuming enough calories via protein. So it's protein consumption and it's weight training. Minimum 3 days a week.
Well, now protein consumption, if you haven't noticed, eggs are $9 a dozen now. So things
6 grams of protein, but yeah.
Start
raising your own chickens or go to Ybor City, pick up some chickens.
Don't give them the Purina chicken feed because they won't lay eggs. I've learned this.
There you go, yeah.
So where does the best source of protein you think? Do you like protein shakes, making one in the morning? What's the best way to get enough protein? And
Whole Foods. So it's chicken, it's steak, it's turkey, it's whatever you can get. And then if you have to supplement in a shake protein, supplement, okay? But do a whey versus a vegan. We talked about protein deficiency before. Yeah. I'd rather you do a whey protein because you're going to absorb the vast majority of that whey protein than you are a pea protein or a soy protein. Okay, so that's the importance of it. But supplement with shakes if you have to get that protein consumption. It should be 1 pound per gram. So if you're 150 pounds and you want to stay at that weight, you need to be on 150 grams of protein a day. Okay, 200 pounds, 200 grams.
That's a lot of protein.
It's a lot of protein, so you need to break it up. Correct.
All right, interesting. And is there I know you gave us some good hints for vitamins, where to get that. There's a lot.
Love the Thorne stuff. I use Thorne's protein too because it's a great protein. Yeah, I use Thorne's protein.
And how do they get that? You have a code for them, right?
I got a code. Yes. Send me an email, guys. Send me an email, Lugo, LUGO @BAMMC.com. Send me an email. I'll share my code with you, give you 25% off on all Thorne products on every order. It's not just a one-time deal. It's on every order. So don't be afraid.
That's huge.
Give me an email.
You got anything for
Nick, let's hear, brother.
I actually did, because last night my fiance made me watch this Netflix health documentary.
Okay.
She's very focused on. We've talked about it on here about my weight or whatever, or my unhealthy eating habits, I guess. And so I'm here. I heard you talk about the protein and everything, and you mentioned red meat and stuff like that. Yesterday on the documentary, this had me all I could hardly sleep last night because it was telling me about all these things that are classified as class A carcinogens or whatever. From I think it's the World Health Organization. And I think red meat might have been right below all these things like cigarettes and really bad things. So what's the balance there?
So I take who with a grain of salt. Okay. That's beside the point. It's all about where it's sourced from. That's why organic is so expensive. That's why when we're talking about beef, we talk about grass-fed and grass-finished beef. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about just grass-fed, because everyone's talking, oh, I'm claiming grass-fed, but then they're taking them in the last 2 months of their life, put them on a whole bunch of grains to get them fat and plumped up. So you want good sourced meats is what you want. So if you're buying your genetically modified stuff or your grain-fed cow, then yes, if depending on what kind of piece of meat you're getting, how much fat is in that meat. Okay, filet mignon being the most lean of that and probably the highest content of protein versus a ribeye or a New York strip. But it's all about where it's sourced from. That's what everything in life is about, where it's sourced from.
And is that the same logic? Like, because they also talked about like fish and everything, and like, you know, you always hear like farm raised fish. Is that the same concept there as like grass fed?
100%. So there's this famous guy by the name of Tony Robbins. Someone mentioned his name once or twice before. Tony will tell you the most miserable time of his life is when he got heavy metal toxicity. Why? Because someone told Tony that tuna was good for him, and Tony was eating the hell out of tuna and ended up getting it from the same source over and over and over. End up getting heavy metal toxicity. Took him 2 years, I think he said, to get detoxed. He says most miserable time of his life. So you want to source it from different variations of places. That's all.
Interesting stuff. As always, Chris Lugo, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. He joins us every Monday at 10:45, unless we have a remote. This is better. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. And we'll chat.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, JP.
Yeah, great question there. Great question. Now you know. Grass-fed and grass-finished.
I'm telling that documentary had me stressed out last night.
It did.
It did. I told Casey, I'm like, don't ever make me watch these things again, because they made it sound like you have to be vegan. Yeah, is what they made it sound like.
No, as you hear Chris talk about all the time, you got to get that protein, and I think it's. I mean, we all can't. I get it. We all can't eat grass-fed, grass-finished beef. It gets expensive. I get it, but the more organic you can get, the better. But you got to get the protein. You got to get the protein. It's such an important part of your diet. But yeah, the World Health Organization, I think we've found out that they're not really on our side at this point. We've got questions. We've got lots of questions. Yeah, don't worry about COVID. It's not transmissible between humans. They literally said that. That didn't turn out to be true. Okay, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the stadium stuff. A lot went down yesterday. To me, I'll just give you a real quick one here. I'm completely confused now with what's going on. There was a big announcement yesterday, but the Rays are still talking to Tampa. Please make it make sense. It just never has. But we'll try to make it make sense. And Ken Hagan's going to join us at 10:30. So stay with us. Quick break. Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys jumping in. Ken Hagan's going to join us here at 10:30. And our thanks to Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Chris Lugo, and, of course, the Jeeves Law Group, who is one of our sponsors as well. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Check them out. You can go to their website and contact them through that. If you have been involved in an accident, they do class action suits. They do just about everything. And also, if your car has been totaled and you did not get what you think you deserved in the settlement, they will see if you have a case. So just give them a free call and find out. You could get hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars from your past settlement. All right. So yesterday, St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch picked the Rays Hines Group to control the redevelopment of Tropicana Field and the building of a new stadium. Rays President Brian Auld was not as forward. This is from the Times piece, Mark Topkin, saying instead that they are fully engaged with the city with the hope of completing negotiations on myriad points, but cautioned that Monday's announcement was merely the very beginning of the end game, and that they are still talking to the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County. So what did we really learn yesterday? Well, we learned that the Mayor Welch wants to work with the Rays and redevelop the Tropicana Field site, something that may cost up to $1.8 billion to do. But we also learned that the stadium construction and financing of the stadium is a completely separate deal, and they still have to work through a lot of those hoops. Now, Brian Auld has said that the Rays now are willing to put up more money, which is interesting. And as you know, we go back through the history of this. Clearly, if the Rays had decided to do what they promised at the time to do, because I just take you back to the 2018 press conference in Ybor City, and I can tell you this, that the Rays plan and their verbiage, their attitude and their tone was probably more solid than what we heard yesterday in St. Petersburg. And as we know, that deal never got done. So for everybody who feels like, okay, this is it, the deal is done, the Rays are staying in St. Petersburg, I would caution again, that is not the case. And we'll hear from Ken Hagan in just a little bit about what their perspective is on the Hillsborough side. So what's interesting here to me is that there's a big announcement, and it all centers around the Rays Stadium. But then the Rays are saying, "Yeah, but we're still, we're engaged to you guys, but we're still talking to this guy over here, and he's going to be dating me, and I'm still going to be going out on dates with him, but we're engaged over here." Is that going to work for you? It's like, you and Casey, is Casey going to allow you to date other girls? Are you going to allow her to date other guys while you're going through the engagement?
Not sure that's how it works.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
No.
And they're still going to negotiate, doing some things over here. So what exactly happened yesterday? What happened yesterday? Mayor Welch took the bait. He took the bait. And now he's got everybody else involved in this, and he's dealing with a franchise that has done nothing but double speak, not negotiating good faith with multiple mayors, multiple cities. And here we stand, probably a year away from a drop dead date. And to me, this is as murky as it's ever been. How do you engage yourself to one city, but you still say you're talking to another? This is called playing one city against the other, which is exactly what I told you the Rays were going to do when the sister city thing was, the kibosh was put on that. They're going to play St. Petersburg against it. And now they've got St. Petersburg so intertwined in what they're doing and moving forward that now St. Petersburg is going to have to come up with more money. And that's going to try to force Hillsborough to then match it and come up with more money. And what it is just a big money grab for Stu Sternberg, and pitting one city against the other. It's not the way it should go down, but it normally does go down like this. This is a tried and true method of baseball stadiums. Normally it's one market against the other. Here you can do one side of the city, one side of the metropolis, and the other. And you can pit those two against each other. And that's what they're doing. And it's not good for either side of the Bay. And I don't understand how Mayor Welch can sit there and say this is a safe bet. He literally said this was a safe bet to do business with the Rays, to do business with a man who's being sued by his partners for gross violations in his fiduciary responsibility to them. Okay, he was supposed to be looking out for his partners in the Rays deal. And all he did, according to the partners and their sworn testimony, was swindle them and cheat them and pressure them out of money. But yet you want to jump into a $1.8 billion deal with this same group. That seems a little strange to me. And it doesn't seem like it's a very good political move in my mind. And for Mayor Welch to say, okay, we're going forward with, we pick your development group and we're going we have full faith that you're going to negotiate in good faith when they've done nothing but the opposite. It's foolhardy in my estimation. So I don't know if this is a responsible thing to do from a political standpoint by Mayor Welch, and exactly what is the price of this stadium. Now we have some sound here from Brian Auld from yesterday.
Yeah, let me cue it up here for you.
All right. So Brian Auld, Rays president, spoke yesterday. He's kind of been the point man on this stadium thing, obviously from starting at Ybor City to the sister city plan to now back to St. Petersburg. And again, what we don't have is a price tag on the stadium and any financing options whatsoever. And, the St. Petersburg City Council is going to have to vote on all this and put their political futures tied to this project. Good luck with that. It hasn't worked out well for the other mayors and the other city councils. So we'll see. So this is from yesterday's press conference. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go.
Well, we are fully engaged with St. Petersburg, and we intend to work aggressively going forward to meet all expectations the city has in terms of timeline and hurdles along the way. But as we've talked about, we are at the very beginning here, and there's a lot that still needs to go right for us to get a shovel in the ground. Up until that shovel is in the ground, it's important that we continue to have dialogue about preserving the Rays in Tampa Bay for generations to come and all the different ways that could happen. But I don't want to underestimate what a big step was taken forward today in St. Petersburg and Pinellas County.
All right, let's listen to the next one on design and capacity. Brian Auld again.
What's most exciting about it is that because we're going to need a smaller capacity than we have here at Tropicana Field, and we're looking at roughly 30,000 seats, we are putting the roof only over the playing field. Right now, if you think about Tropicana Field, the roof covers the entire seating bowl in addition to the playing field. And so it's set back. Not all that different from the way some of the condo towers on Beach Drive are set back from the street. And so when you're walking through our development, you'll have a 2 or 3 story building directly next to you. And the really tall part that has to be 250 feet plus tall in order to handle pop-ups to over second base is a little bit further away. And we think it really adds to the overall development. It's been a key part of the design that is Hines and Gensler have taken into account. And it should be pretty incredible. What's most
interesting, although I'm not quite sure how that works. So the stands are not going to be covered with the roof?
From the outline that I saw, it does look like the stands are covered. At least from the outline that I saw.
That's what I thought too.
But you could see it right here in this photo right there.
Yeah.
It's
looks
just
like a full roof.
It just looks like 4 corners that are kind of open a little bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it an inspiring design at all.
It's a futuristic design.
Is that what they call
Which
that?
I don't know. I mean, that's how all stadiums are. I'm not as hung up on the design of the stadium anymore.
Yeah.
To be honest
Build
with you.
the stadium.
Just get the thing up.
Get something. All right. And now here's number 3 on Auld as Tampa out of the running.
Oh, that was the first one. This is will this increase attendance?
Okay.
over
That would be Mr. Hagan calling in.
I think that's Ken calling me.
Yeah.
So we might want to take a break here so we get
All
to
right.
him.
Yeah, we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll get Ken's thoughts on all this. So quick break. We will be back here with Ken Hagan, chairman of the Hillsborough County Commission, and we'll get his thoughts on what went down yesterday and what's next for Tampa. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free
you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. So many questions. We've been talking about the stadium for so long, and what happened yesterday I thought would bring some clarity, but it did not. It brought more questions for me. So let's bring in our man, Ken Hagan, Hillsborough County Chairman of the County Commission there, who's been the point man for the stadium talks in Tampa for quite some time. What's up, Ken? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How's it going, JP?
Good, good. So what is your take, just your overall take on what happened yesterday? Because I heard them say we're engaged to St. Petersburg, but we're still dating Tampa. That usually doesn't work in the real world, at least not in my world. What did you hear?
Well, I certainly heard the same. But for starters, I mean, we fully expected the Rays team to be chosen. The Rays made it very clear to St. Pete that for the city to have any chance of retaining the team, they would have to be a part of the development group. So that was not unexpected. That being said, I think that I'm pleased that I believe that this announcement gets our community one step closer to securing a long-term home for the team. I guess you could say we're on the clock now, and we're prepared to negotiate when the time is right. I had been hearing, for the last several months that St. Pete has the momentum. It seems like it's a done deal for St. Pete. And the line that I used earlier, I said that the game that's being covered and portrayed is not the game that's actually being played. And we've been very methodical in our discussions with the team. There's a reason why the Rays have been meeting with us as recently as a week and a half ago. They know, MLB knows, that their attendance will be much higher and the revenue generated significantly greater in Tampa. But at the same time, we've made it clear that we are not going to get into a bidding war with St. Pete. That let that St. Pete play, let that play out, if you will. And when you're ready, we're ready to have that to take it beyond discussions, which has been how I would characterize how the meetings have gone up to now, but actually begin to negotiate.
Well, and you've told me in the past that there was a time there where the Rays were very forthcoming, and then they weren't as forthcoming recently. Have they been more forthcoming as far as what their plans are, what they want now in Hillsborough County? Is the dialogue better than maybe 6 months ago?
I'd likely characterize it as slightly better. Yeah. I mean, it's not as smooth and as transparent as we would like it to be.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's gotten better. The meetings certainly have continued. The discussions have been ongoing, and we've tried to be very transparent and very upfront. The entire time. I know I have.
Yeah.
And so I would hope at a minimum, while they may not like some of the things that we've said, that they appreciate our candor and our willingness to be open on on what we're, how we feel and what, our game plan, if you will. We're not telling them one thing and coming up or scheming to do something else.
Right.
All the cards on the table. And so I hope at a minimum that the team appreciates our approach.
Well, Ken, when you said the game that's being portrayed is not the game that's being played, what does that mean? Is that more about financing? What does that mean?
Well, several things. Some, candidly, that I can't divulge.
Okay.
But as far as, again, if you believed everything in the, that was being covered in the media, that it was basically St. Pete's to lose, and the reality is the team's been meeting with us regularly over the past year, recently as a week and a half ago, and I didn't see it, but I guess that Brian Auld was asked that question yesterday, and he stated that no, they were still meeting and going to have discussions with us. I'm paraphrasing, but
right.
to that degree, and you probably know exactly what he, how he described it. But those discussions have been ongoing, and there's a reason for that, because again, the team knows, and MLB knows, that their best opportunity to be successful and sustainable long term is going to be in Tampa and Hillsborough.
Ken Hagan joining us here, chairman of the Hillsborough County Commission. Ken, obviously people are talking about that Hillsborough doesn't quote have the money. In terms of these development rights and bringing a developer in to help out to pay for some of this, like the Rays are doing with Hines, do you have somebody? Is that Daryl Shaw? Or is there some other group entity that can help out with that? Or can Hillsborough and the Rays pull this together? How answer the money question for us in terms of Hillsborough County as best you can.
Well, that is a big part of the equation, is having a developer part of the deal.
Right.
And we've made that very clear to the Rays. We've made that very clear to Daryl Shaw. And I think that that's one breakthrough that has materialized over the last several meetings. That we felt that way, but now I believe the Rays and Daryl understand the big picture, that for that to happen here, that's going to be a critically important element of any financing plan, is having a developer part of the development agreement and part of the financing plan. Because the reality is we do not have the level of bed tax dollars that St. Pete has. I've always acknowledged that. That's just the reality. So we're going to have to be very creative in our funding sources, some of which we've discussed, including user fees and things of that nature. But a developer is going to have to be a part of it. Someone or a company that's able to take a big part of the risk associated with a project of this magnitude, knowing that the ROI is going to be a lot greater on the long term, but it's certainly a long-term play. It's not a couple year scenario where you're going to make money and move on. So that's a big part of it, and I think we're all on the same. I know we're all on the same page, and we're moving forward with that understanding.
Do you have anybody stepped up, or you're going to ask for developers to get involved? Do you have to come up with a plan first, or what is the logistics of that? How does that work?
That is really Daryl Shaw has been essentially tasked with that. Okay. Now he has a developer or development team that's working on his master development.
Right.
But what's unclear is if it's that same entity, or would it be another one that would be associated in any type of ballpark development. So but those are the type of nuances and to the degree that we are exploring at this point. But certainly we believe that for this to work, that we're going to have a developer part of it. I mean, we're still doing some financial modeling on the new location as far as what we think we could potentially put together using tourist tax dollars and CRA dollars and user fee or entertainment district type scenario. But in order for it to really work and to take the burden off of the taxpayers, which I've always stated that's critically important. That we're not going to raise taxes and we're not burdening the taxpayers with any type of risk or increased taxes as a result of a ballpark. That's not going to happen. So we've got to be creative, and in order to absorb that risk, it takes, literally a deep pockets individual or developer that will make more money in the long term, but in the short term, going to have to absorb that risk while the development around the ballpark is taking place, because we're financial modeling, however many hundreds of thousands of square feet that's going to come as a result of the ballpark.
Right.
But that doesn't happen overnight. That takes, years for it to come out of the ground and to go vertical and to materialize. So it's a very complicated agreement. It's not something that's an easy thing to describe, but I think at its core, it's having another entity that can absorb the risk associated with this and take the burden off the taxpayers.
And Ken Hagan joining us, Hillsborough County Commission. I would think with Tampa Bay being the number one place to move in Florida and in the nation and maybe even the world, one of its best destinations, Forbes just named it that, and having a downtown area and a government that's very conducive to development, that this would be a very attractive project for just about any developer. Is that fair to say?
I certainly think so. I think what we all agree on is the development possibilities are significantly greater with the ballpark as opposed to without a ballpark.
Right.
But that whole Ybor area is going to be developed. It's going to be master planned. It's going to be a beautiful development once it all materializes. That either way. That being said, I think it's safe to say that having a state-of-the-art new ballpark will accelerate that development.
Yeah.
And in the long run, there would be even more development as a result of it.
Yeah.
So the revenues will be accrued at a faster pace with the ballpark than without. So I think we're all on the same page with that.
Is the Ybor Marina site, that latest rendering that I saw there, kind of a space age stadium, is that something that you're actively working with, that Ybor Marina shipyard parcel right there?
That's the location.
That's it.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one that the Rays have selected. That's the one that we've been meeting with Darryl, with the city, and with other folks on, again, focusing on that particular area and coming up with, again, what kind of financial modeling that we can come up with, because it's not a one size fits all.
Right.
Every location has potentially different funding scenarios or funding options. So that's what we're, our financial consultants are working on that now, but we're, again, primarily focused on that particular location.
And is it safe to say that your funding sources are they finite in terms of what Hillsborough County wants to put up? And the number's been out there at about 300 to 350 million. And do the Rays, we're hearing that the Rays will now put up more money. I think Brian said that yesterday. Is that your sense, that they're more willing to put up more money?
Well, I definitely think so, but I think that started when our last round of discussions began,
right.
Or maybe not our last round, but right when COVID, right prior to COVID hitting, for the first time, the Rays acknowledged that they were going to have to put in at least half. And even since then, I think they understand that that irrespective of which city that the ballpark's built, that they're going to have to put in beyond 50% of that number. But the thing is long, waiting these extra years,
right,
the price tag's also gone up.
Yes, exactly.
So it's probably gone up 300 million or so as a result of waiting and not reaching a deal back in 2019.
Yeah. All right, Ken, anything else you want to add? I guess the last question I would say is, what is your, can you put a percentage on your optimism for your plan in Tampa over St. Petersburg? I believe it's still, as you said, the Rays prefer Tampa. Major League Baseball prefers Tampa. Will Major League Baseball get involved to make this happen? What is your sense of optimism for Tampa?
I'm still very optimistic. I am, as a result of yesterday's announcement, I'd say nearly 100% optimistic the team's going to remain in Tampa Bay,
right,
which number one is paramount.
Yep.
As much as most of us acknowledge Tampa is the better site for the team, at the same time, it's critically important that the team remains in the region I mean, if we would lose a major league franchise, that would be a tremendous black eye on our community. So I'm supremely confident of that. As far as Tampa and Hillsborough, I'm still very optimistic. As far as a percentage, I can't give an exact number, but I still believe that we're going to have every opportunity to make it work. And I think if we're able to, working with Daryl the landowner, if we're able to come up with a developer that can willing to partner with us, that I still believe it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, if we're at the table with a plan that's, to use a term, in the ballpark, but in the ballpark of what St. Pete and Pinellas County can offer, at that point, I think you'd see Major League Baseball get involved, and because they believe as strongly as we do that Tampa and Hillsborough is just a much better location.
Yeah, I think we do. All right, Ken, great stuff as always, my friend. Appreciate it. It was great seeing you at the sneaker soiree. That was fun as well. So keep digging, my friend. We're certainly we want it to be in Tampa because I think that's what's best for the region, and that we've always said that, not just St. Pete, but just the region. So let's hope we make it happen. All right, thanks, Ken. Appreciate it.
I will keep fighting a good fight, JP.
Yes, I know you will. Well, we thank you so much because I know you're putting up a lot of political capital to get this done, and you take a lot of slings and arrows, as do I. But that's okay. It's we signed up for it. It's no problem. You feel the same way. You got thick skin. You're a big boy. We can all handle it. But it's what's best for the region, and that's what we want. So thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Okay, have a good one.
Thanks. So what happened yesterday, I hate to say, was a big old nothing burger.
I just can't get over the fact that in a span of 3 years, we have increased the stadium cost by $300 million.
So stupid.
In a 3-year span.
And when I'd sit here and say, well, who saw that coming? Everybody.
That's why, when I heard that come out, when I heard Brian All say that yesterday, we're now, willing to give more money. I'm like, okay, yeah. But is it really more money, or is it just adjusting to what it is now, and it's basically equivalent to what you were going to pay when the stadium was $800 million? Yeah. That's my question. Yeah. And also, too, do you necessarily get brownie points for that? After how many years has Stuart Sternberg been the owner now? What are we going on here?
14, 15 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Do we give out brownie points now because when we're in the bottom of the eighth now we're forced to, basically we're going to put up more money? Do you get brownie points for that? No. I don't know. I don't know.
At this point, you're not getting any brownie points. It's just get it done. Get the deal done. And this is my problem with St. Petersburg. Is the only reason that people want to put it there is because they have more tax dollars to put in. Okay. Now, first of all, that's the people's money. So, why don't you go to your constituents? And if it doesn't even have to be a full-on vote, but I would like to see Mayor Welch do some polling of his constituents. And when you finally get the price tag for what it's going to be for the ballpark, the added expense for the ballpark of that redevelopment, are your constituents who don't go to the games, who overwhelmingly, probably 75, 80%, 90% of your constituents don't go to the games and don't give a rat's ass about the Rays. Do you think they want all those tax dollars going to a stadium other than more affordable housing?
And speaking of the constituents, by the way, I saw a lot of people yesterday on Twitter who said they live in Pinellas and they thought that when they moved over there, they would go to more games. And they still find themselves barely going to any, because even on that side of the bay, they have a hard time getting over there because the roads are a mess around there.
Dave Maganin lives in he came on with us yesterday. His family lives in Palm Harbor. Mm-hmm. Says it takes him an hour and a half to get to games in Palm Harbor because there's no north-south that they can get down there on. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's because it's congested because it's an island.
Yeah.
It's a peninsula, but
and I understand,
surrounded by water.
And I understand if they went through with this whole thing. I understand it basically that it's in the plans to improve the infrastructure and I get all that. I'm just saying, as currently constructed, to me, with everything that's in place at the moment, you can't convince me there's any logical evidence that points to building a stadium on the same spot. I mean, I don't care if you build the SoFi Stadium on that site. I just don't see where's the evidence that you'll see an uptick in attendance, I'm sure.
The first couple of years.
But how much of an uptick?
It won't sustain.
How will it sustain?
Location.
I hear people telling me about the growth of St. Pete, Okay, but the people that are in St. Pete and that are moving to St. Pete, are they baseball fans? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from up north and they're not Rays fans? Like, I think there's a lot of different factors there, and I just don't see how any of them lend to having a baseball stadium there.
And just first of all, growth in and of itself is limited there because you have no land. It's landlocked. It's surrounded by water. And then you look at the growth potential east of Hillsborough County towards Orlando is immense. And it's just drive I-4 for God's sakes. I mean, it's nothing but construction going on in that huge area. And that's where most of the population is anyway. So it's like everything points towards Tampa except, we got more bed tax dollars. Is that a reason to build the stadium? That's the reason to build the stadium? No. And Mayor Welch, let's just be honest, like every other mayor before you, except Kreisman, who was smart enough to say, let's let Hillsborough County take a shot at it. It's just being very provincial. They don't want to be the mayor that, quote, loses the Rays. You're not losing the Rays. They're just going to be on the other side of the bay where they should be. And you're going to be more responsible to your constituencies who are talking about affordable housing and equity and those things that you were elected for, not giving $1 billion subsidy to a billionaire. Who has bargained in poor faith with the city. That Tropicana, if not for Stu Sternberg, Rick Kreisman would have cranes over there right now, and half the development would be done if not for Stu Sternberg. And that means jobs, that means money, that means everything that could have been going on for 2 years. But no. And now why? Because of Stu Sternberg. And now you're going to do a deal and give the money to this guy? Really? That just seems incredibly politically irresponsible. And I would say the same thing to Ken Hagan, to be quite honest with you. And if you're going to do a deal with the Rays, you better have a developer involved who's going to be running the show and not be depending on them for any large amount of faith. I mean, that contract's got to be rock solid. Yeah. So
well, here's the thing too.
Major League Baseball needs to get Stu out. I mean, that's first and foremost to make my argument complete. Major League Baseball needs to make him sell it, to take his $1 billion profit and go, so you can develop somebody with deep pockets that wants to develop it and own it and be the owner of the team and have great civic responsibility like a Jeffrey Bennett.
Well, here's what I want to know. How involved is Major League Baseball in, are they even involved in any of these discussions going on with what happened yesterday? Did the MLB get the green light from them? Hey, if we want to do this in St. Peter, you're going to let us do it. No. Or are they completely out of this?
Well, MLB has told Stu,
because we just
told the world that it's not properly located.
We just talked to Ken Hagan, obviously, and he mentioned it that the Rays know and MLB knows. That's when I hear MLB knows, and I feel like Rob Manfred has danced around that question for a while, like without answering it directly for the most part.
I thought he answered it directly last time when he said it needs to be properly located.
True.
Which means it's not properly located.
He says properly located. I want you to come out and say it. Well, just say it.
I mean, it's
like if somebody asked him to.
Well, he did say somebody Tampa 1,000 times, but some people believe that he means the area.
We have disconnect. But if somebody asked the question,
I don't think he could be more clear. He said Tampa, and it needs to be properly located. So I would disagree with you. I think he said it very distinctly.
Well, my point is, if somebody asked him the question tomorrow, and I'm assuming there's a lot of people who are going to try to get a comment from him in the next few days on this, assuming, right? If somebody asked him if the Rays wanted to build a stadium in St. Pete, would you allow it? I feel like that needs to be the question, just to get this whole thing more clear.
If he says no, then the Rays lose all their negotiating power. That's what this is about.
Maybe they need to lose their negotiation power.
Well, that removes Stu. That's my point, is if he says that, he removes the negotiating power. And that's what, typically Major League Baseball leaves their owners to get the deal done. All right. And lets them do it the way they want to do it. But Major League Baseball definitely knows that the future of baseball, here's the deal. The owners don't want to write Stu Sternberg revenue sharing checks anymore. And if they build a stadium in the same spot, they probably may have to do that because their attendance is still not going to go up. Whereas if you move it to the middle of the market where there's 3 times as many people within a 30-minute drive, you're definitely going to get an attendance. That's sustainable, not just,
That was the funny thing, too, that you mentioned about, nobody wants to be the mayor that loses the Rays in St. Pete. And I'm like, what does it matter if you lose something that's not a priority to your constituents?
Right.
What's the priority there? Because I don't know the exact breakdown, but the Rays average what, like 13,000 this year in attendance, give or take?
Yeah.
What's the breakdown of how many people are from Tampa and how many people are from St. Pete that are going to those games?
The only numbers I've ever seen, it's always been a majority of Hillsborough County.
I mean, I can try to speak to it based on the traffic, getting there and going home after, that there's quite many people from Tampa.
It's the $1 million question that only you ask and I ask is that why if St. Pete wants it so bad, how come nobody goes to the games? You're gonna make the same mistake that Miami made. You're gonna build a beautiful stadium in the wrong area of town that nobody goes to the games.
And by the way,
dumb.
Just to clear up some of the things that I kept seeing yesterday, because people are now trying to just be like, oh, well, let's embrace St. Pete and let's put our arms around this. And listen, I love the team. I think you love the team.
I love the team.
I love the team.
Yeah.
Okay. I still go to the games when I can. But you know what? I'm always going to have that what if in my mind. What if it was in Tampa? I feel like every Rays fan is always going to have that what if game. And for people that are saying it's just a bridge, get over it. It's not about the bridge for me.
No.
It's not about the bridge. It's not about the water. That could be entirely land. But you know what? It's still a long ways away.
Yeah.
It's just a distance. That's all we're saying here. And I just don't know how many more ballparks around baseball have that big of a distant barrier from their major population that the Rays do. I just don't know where it is.
We are 600 to 700,000 below the next lowest, which is at 1.3 million within a 30-minute drive, which is why baseball has that rule for building stadiums, which is why they told St. Petersburg, don't build a stadium. It's a demographically bad spot to build a stadium. It's why it has failed. That's why it's been a failed location. Why you would put up that much public money on a failed location is beyond politically irresponsible, in my opinion. Beyond irresponsible.
Yeah.
But again, it's more of a marquee thing. You think you're absolutely right. Poll your constituents and say, you want to give $600-800 million to build this stadium? Is it worth that in public funds? Or could we think how many more affordable housing units you could build for that kind of money, which is what Mayor Welch talks about. It's an ego thing.
Yeah, and to the point about the Rays marketing, by the way, because I saw people, they don't market. Do they market themselves even in St. Pete?
Not much. No.
I'll be honest with you. I spend a lot of time in St. Pete because we work in St. Pete. I spend a lot of time in Tampa, obviously. I saw more marketing in downtown Tampa than I saw in downtown St. Pete.
Because nobody in St. Pete goes to the
That's
games.
My point. That's my
Pinellas
point. They don't even market it in their own city that they play in.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody cares.
It's so ridiculously dysfunctional. And it's a question that has anybody asked Mayor Welch this? Do your constituents even want this? Where's the proof that they do? They don't go to the games. They may say that they want it. Oh, yeah, we'd love to have the Rays here just in case I go.
I don't know.
It doesn't work that way.
Like I said, I put this on Twitter yesterday. I'm just at the point where I don't know who's at fault anymore. I really don't know. I know you have an idea of who's at fault. I really don't know. I'm completely at the point where if this thing becomes in St. Pete, it's a failure. After 25 years, it's a failure.
It's a huge mistake if they do this. It's not going to solve any of the problems. None of it. It's not going to be some iconic. I mean, look at what they're building. It's not even an iconic stadium.
In my head, it's
draw
like
people in.
Well,
it's just that looks like a box.
Well, I'm gonna be honest though. I will say I do like, regardless how you may think it looks on the outside, I do like the whole idea of having a Rays district, quote unquote. I do, and I think it's like 86 acres. And that was another thing. Like, where are you going to put that in Tampa Bay? Where's the space for that? Because there's just not much. I mean, that's a fact, right? And even that,
Ybor Marina.
Is the Ybor Marina as big as this space that they're talking about in St. Pete?
Probably not. But I mean, that's just the development area.
And is that the end all be all that we have to have enough land to where we're building a stadium plus we want to have this around it? Is that the new way of going
because,
now?
Hagan just said you need to have a developer involved to make the money work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like this is some weird deal. They're doing it in Miami with the new soccer stadium. They did it in Atlanta. That was the first model.
It seems like that's what the Rays want to model after.
Yeah, and these because it works. The developers, I mean, just imagine if you're the developer and you're going to put up 4 condo buildings and you're going to sell every unit for $6 million overlooking the stadium, which is what some of these freaking condos are going for in downtown Tampa. I mean, you start doing the numbers, you're going to make a lot of money on that deal. Yeah. Do you want to be the development company that's going to get that money? Hell yes. And bringing the baseball stadium, as Ken said, that brings more value to that development. Daryl Shaw knows that. And it's not just the Ybor district, it's the Gasworks district in Ybor as well. So there's it's the whole Ybor district. It's the whole Channel side. It's downtown. It's all of it. And it's the east side of this market, or the center of this market, where you have all the growth.
Yeah.
Developers would love that.
And is there at least, I'm just trying to play both sides here a little bit, but do you at least have any, I don't know how to phrase this, the fact that it seems like at least it's 100% they're staying. Like, this is obviously a good thing, correct? Like, we can at least have joy in that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And let's get to some of the comments here. Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side and get to your comments. Lonnie and Richie P and all you guys got some great stuff in here. And if you guys want to comment on what Ken said, you can go to my Twitter at FanStreamJP. You can go to our Facebook page as well, WATB on Facebook as well, our YouTube. You can comment right there, and we'll get to your comments next. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, the Jeeves Law Group, and the Valspar Championship coming up March 16th through the 19th, folks. They got lots of premium seating out there, but they will sell out. They have the new rooftop that we've been talking about on 18, which is going to be the cool place to be. The Snake Pit tickets, the Hooters Owl's Nest, that will sell out. All these will sell out. So go to ValsparChampionship.com. Get your tickets now for the PGA Tour coming to town. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah, so call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years.
The boys are back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship returns March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of incredible golf plus a host of activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. There is more to the Valspar than just great golf. It's the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Snake Pit Club, accessible by premium tickets, and other great venues throughout the course for those with ground tickets. And new in 2023 is the Rooftop, a new prestigious venue at the 18th green with music, food, and fun. Plus, you never know who you're going to see at the Rooftop. Tickets are on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds tickets and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss the 2023 Valspar Championship.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately, or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry super center with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and Gold, Florida State. Get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, Emerging Investigations, American Mortgage Services. Scott Fitzgerald, if you need a loan or a refi, I know rates are higher, but he'll get you the lowest rate. So if you got to get it done, you got to get a new house, he's definitely the way to go. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com. He is the best in the business. He's done 3 of my loans and will do so much more than just get you a loan. He'll take a look at your finances and give you great advice on how to do the deal, how to get the least percentage rate, all those things, and help you out tremendously. American Mortgage Services, Scott Fitzgerald, scott@amstampa.com. All right. Some of the comments coming in, really good stuff. This is from Jordan Gamillion. Come on, Hagan, secure the funding. Let's get this thing going. Hit the casino up, and they'll put their name on it. Once they get a developer, everything comes from that. Then people start jumping on board. The big advertisers, the big supporters. That's going to be the key to the whole thing. And again, I don't see why some of these big development groups. Why Hines wants to do downtown St. Petersburg. Why don't they take a look at downtown Tampa and see what they could do there? James says, if MLB knows St. Pete's long-term doesn't work, why would they allow Stu to continue this? And why would St. Pete Council approve a plan destined to fail? I think it's hubris on the part of St. Petersburg to believe that this is the best thing for their city and Tampa Bay. It's not. I believe maybe ego is better than hubris. I think it's ego. They think it would be a black eye if they quote lost the Rays, but again, they're not losing the Rays. It's just you're gaining. You're just being smart. Why would you build a stadium in a failed location? You got 25 years of evidence that it doesn't work there, and it just to put good money after bad. That's such a political thing to do, though, right? That's exactly what politicians do because it's not their money, right?
Yeah. I had to get to this. Yeah, this just real quick because Brian Auld was making the rounds yesterday, and I saw this quote pop up, and he said, "This is where our families are. This is where our fans are. This is where our families are." Was the quote that he had
in St. Petersburg?
Yeah. I'm like, I heard
maybe
that,
your families are.
I heard that yesterday.
That's not where your fans are.
Yeah, I heard that yesterday, and I'm like, I'm like, why are you lying?
Yeah.
Why are you lying out in public right now?
Well,
some of these comments, man.
Well, they have the data. I would have to verify it though. Whatever they told us, they have the data. They know exactly the zip code of all the tickets that they sell because everything's online. So they know where the majority of their fans come from. And every time I've ever heard them talk about it, it's Tampa. And besides that, Brian Auld has said himself that Tampa is the better location. It's the better. So if you want to talk about it's the only thing you can say about St. Petersburg is it's more money in your pocket, but you don't want to say that. You want to say this is where our fans are. That's a lie. It's not true. The only advantage to St. Petersburg is more money for you. That's it. You've said yourself that Tampa is the better spot, which is evident. That's just a fact. Major League Baseball wants Tampa. I don't know why he says that because it's not true. It's just not true. Lonnie says, I agree. I was telling friends and family, this all means squat right now. MLB absolutely won't let them build in St. Pete again. The Trop development is happening with or without the Rays, which is why Rick Kreisman wanted to go forward without the Rays because he knew it. He knew it. And then, Mayor Welch took the bait.
And I have to imagine, right, that's why the St. Pete constituents would be upset about it.
Is this true? Well, Tom knows what he's talking about. Thomas Casper says the commercial offices downtown St. Pete are 3/4 empty. Who's going to lease on the Trop footprint? That's what I want to know. They're talking about all this commercial development in office buildings. Office buildings are almost extinct now, aren't they?
I thought so.
With everybody working from home. Yeah, affordable housing. Senior citizens are never going to baseball games. Yes, they cannot afford. Senior citizens cannot afford a $70 outfield ticket. So that's not happened. Richie P says the bad part is that Welch got sucked into Stu's game. Kreisman had figured Stu out, and the evidence that Stu was BS. Unfortunately, Welch got played. Yep, I agree with you 100%. Lottie says the only ads into St. Pete are outdated photos of the Rays on some windows off Central. That's it. Yeah, that's about all.
Some windows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kreisman had it figured out. Welch fell for the nickel behind the ear trick. And this is interesting. Richie P says ABC Action News did a story yesterday interviewing some of the locals, and many were not happy. Did you see that?
I tried to find it on their website, but I did not see that video. They had the whole story, but they did not have that video. They had a different one.
Well, that's interesting. Do you remember who did the story? We'll get the reporter on. It's got to be up on there.
Yeah, I'll look into that. But that's definitely interesting, though.
Or maybe the Rays asked them to pull it. I don't know. Let me see what else we got here. From Richie P. This St. Pete locals are getting priced out, and Stu was never shown to be a community guy. The evidence he would point to is sparse and few and far between. The Stu Hines group is just the wrong choice. Man, it just feels that way, doesn't it? It just, all of it feels weird. I mean, how do you make this big announcement and then say, yeah, but we're still talking to Tampa?
In all reality, like this is no, and again, I'm trying to understand this as much as everybody else, because I know a lot of this stuff can be very confusing, but this is no different than the first day we did the Ybor press conference, right?
Right.
This is no different than that, correct? This is no different than.
I'll be honest and say that I had a lot more hope for that, because it seemed like, at least that was like, okay, this works. All right,
it seemed practical.
Hillsborough puts up half the money. It's $450 million, which is roughly $25 million a year. Same thing for the Rays. So they put up half, we put up that seems very doable. $25 million compared to, your revenues are probably going to go up between $75 to $100 million a year. That's what, that's way less than the Braves made. So a conservative estimate would be your increase. So that more than pays for the park. So it's the right place to be. Okay. It's on the east side of the market, or the center part of the market, where, okay, that works too. It's in a burgeoning area. You've got room to do it. Like, it all comes together. Now, when you start talking about St. Pete, it's a lot of, well, wait a minute, this is not the spot we really want, but we're going to do it anyway because they have the bed tax money and Hillsborough doesn't have as much. And we're going to shoehorn it into a development in a place where people don't come to the games anyway. None of that makes sense. Just like yesterday's announcement. Yeah, the Rays are staying in. Oh, yeah, but we're still talking to Tampa. What kind of announcement is that?
Yeah,
we're engaged and we're doing everything in here at St. Petersburg, but we're still talking to Tampa.
Yeah. By the way, because I was talking about,
none of that makes sense.
Because I was talking about Rob Manfred and he would speak. There's Mark Topkin just put an article up.
Okay.
He got a statement from Rob Manfred. And this is from Topkin's article. He says, Major League Baseball appears to be on board with the Rays' plans to build a new stadium adjacent to their current Tropical Field location. And the statement from Manfred says, thank you to Mayor Welch for reaffirming St. Petersburg's commitment to Major League Baseball and the Tampa Bay Rays. We look forward to working with the mayor to secure the Rays' long-term future in Tampa Bay.
Well, I expected him to say that, right? Because if he says anything else, you're cutting off the negotiating power of Stu Sternberg. So the next question is, well, okay, Commissioner, then why should Stu still be talking to Tampa? Huh? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so you can get all the quotes that you want from the commissioner, but it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And it's still noted here that in July, he said that he would consider a Tampa site, not Tampa Bay, Tampa site more preferable in some respects, but added that location wasn't the only factor. And then obviously we had the quotes in December where he said to explore all the available options in the Tampa Bay region.
Right.
That was in December. So,
Right.
and he
And
also
said it needs to be properly located, which I'm sure is not included in those quotes.
no.
Or is it? Yeah. No, that's what he said. He said it has to be properly located, which means it's not properly located now. And I get it. Location isn't the only thing, but I mean, when it's this drastic of a difference,
I tell you what, though, I truly, I've said it multiple times on here, and I know I'm living in cuckoo land, but if you pick the trop up and dropped it on the site there in the marina, just the trop itself, just as it is, just pick it up and drop it there. I guarantee you will have, even then with that thing, you'll have an uptick in attendance.
Of course you will. It's no.
So I don't know if location is like
2.4 million compared to 600,000.
Well, that's my point, though.
I
When
mean,
people say like it's not just location, I'm like, well, what else is it really?
What is real estate? Location.
It's like
you're talking about going to a stadium and travel time and gas money and expense.
Because I just don't really.
Everything. Of course, it makes a difference.
Because I don't buy that there's an overwhelming amount of people. I know you don't enjoy going to the Trop. I know that. I know a lot of people don't. But at the same token, I don't think there's an overwhelming amount of people that their number one reason why they don't go to the games is, I don't like the Trop. I don't think that's anywhere close to the number one reason.
No, the number one reason is location.
So that's what I'm saying. I just feel like I don't know if that's really much of a factor, what the thing looks like or stuff like that.
I mean, if it's an inspiring place to go, people want to go. I mean, that's just the way it is. But that wanes after a while. I mean, look at the Marlins ballpark is considered by many to be a gem, a beautiful ballpark, great facility, great sight lines, all that stuff. But nobody goes because it's in a horrible location. Oh. And the people around there that live around there don't go. We're going to make the same stupid mistake as Miami and build a beautiful ballpark in the wrong location. It's so stupid. And the worst part about it is Stu is the one that's going to make out like a bandit. He's going to make out like a bandit, and they don't want to say it, but the only reason, I mean, basically what Manfred is saying, the only reason that they're building it there is because they can afford to build it there. They can get more tax dollars to build it, and they can, bilk more money out of the public. And here you hear Ken Hagan saying, look, we want it and we're going to put our best foot forward, but we're not going to bankrupt our taxpayers to do it. That sounds like a responsible politician to me, as opposed to what's going on in St. Petersburg. Whatever you need. Now, and let's be fair, Ken hasn't said that. But when they get down to brass tacks, that's what's going to have to be needed in order for the deal to get done. You've got to give up way more money than Tampa to make the deal worth Stu's while. And is that the reason to get it done? Because you're going to pay more public money? No.
Yeah. I just said, but like everybody would be saying, just get the damn thing done, because I think these reasons that they listed out of what would be better if they got this stadium, obviously attendance, increased sponsorships, improve facilities, and then the biggest one, you get a larger payroll.
Right.
You get a larger payroll.
Exactly. That's what we've been talking about forever.
We've been talking about forever, but it's like, shouldn't that like kind of increase the urgency a little bit?
Yes.
You think?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like we have all these people that are saying we need to spend more money. Maybe you can kind of make the argument that the way we've been doing it works in the regular season, but not the postseason. Do we want to actually get to the top goal?
If you're a baseball fan,
looking at it from a baseball side, that's where I'm kind of trying to look at it from. It's like, shouldn't there be more sense of an urgency to get to that point?
Yes.
Like, why keep holding it off?
Yes.
Because as the moment I see right now, it's like, and this is what frustrates me. If you had done this in 5 years ago, look at the team the Rays have now and think of where it could be.
Yes. This is what I've been talking about.
Because you got to take advantage of the windows that you have on the field, and don't think that the two things are not connected, a stadium and the team that you're fielding. Because what happens when this stadium gets done eventually one day, and what if you're completely out of your window? Like, and then you're kind of restart. I've been looking at it from that direction right now, because I think the two things go hand in hand.
Of course, I've been talking about this forever. When I talk about the Braves, what do I say? When they moved up there, it gave them much more payroll flexibility to sign these guys because they're making a crap ton more money.
Yeah.
I've been talking about this forever from a baseball standpoint. That's why you need to be in Hillsborough County to get more revenue. Your revenue is limited in St. Petersburg because it's not going to improve attendance. Right now, you've got money, but it's coming from Major League Baseball revenue sharing. That's where most of the revenue
and clearly,
comes from.
like they said, sponsorship is a major problem.
Yeah,
it feels like.
Yeah, and you're not going to. And now at St. Pete, well, you're going to have more premium seating with the new stadium and new luxury boxes and all those things,
Correct.
which is great. That will increase some. But the companies are not going to be as willing to pay for it because they can't give the tickets to clients. When the Rays first came here, folks, all the companies in Hillsborough County bought Rays season tickets. They all did. But the reason they stopped is they couldn't give them away because nobody wanted to go because it was too far. All those companies in Hillsborough County would then get them tickets again, and then they would keep them because it would be right there. So you would have corporate support, which you had in 2018 when we did the Rays 100. You had $160 million pledged in corporate support, and that was just with nothing built, no plan or anything. And it would have increased from that. But the companies in Hillsborough County just said, why am I paying for this? I can't even give them to my clients because they don't want to go. It's too far during the week. So that was an issue. And yes, if you're a baseball fan, you want it in Tampa because you're going to have more revenue, hopefully, that the owner would spend on payroll. Because if Stu's still the owner, more revenue doesn't necessarily mean it's going to payroll. So keep that in mind. All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll get into some of the Bucs stuff. The OCs are being interviewed. There's some more Brady news out there. The folks on Get Up have him signed, sealed, and delivered to San Francisco. I don't think that's happening, but we'll get to all that. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If your car has been totaled in an accident and you don't think you got the settlement you needed, well, give them a call. JeevesLawGroup.com. Contact them through the website. Back in 3.
Time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Well, it's that time of year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 888-325-0605 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. Not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Oh, well. It all depends on your income and your family situation. It's a free call, 888-325-0605. They will ask for some income information. So if you have your tax returns available, that will be great, but you don't need it. They'll just answer some simple questions, and the highly trained reps will do the work for you to find out what your subsidy will be. 888-325-0605. And if you have a plan through your employer, you may be able to get it cheaper. It's a free call, so find out, folks. This has been a lifesaver for me and saved me thousands of dollars over the last few years, and you can choose your plan. It's a no-brainer. Find out. Make the free call. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and thousands of others. 888-325-0605. The PGA Tour is back. The Valspar Championship returns to Innisbrook March 16th to the 19th with 4 days of great golf action and a host of fun activities that make it Tampa Bay's hottest spring sports ticket. Every tournament day offers something different. On Friday, we'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with the wearing of the green. Saturday means Valspar Live, where tournament patrons will be able to enjoy country music superstar Darius Rucker with a free 90-minute show after the conclusion of play. And on Sunday, we're going to crown a champion. You don't want to miss it. Everybody will be there. Tickets on sale now at ValsparChampionship.com for all tournament days, both grounds and premium ticket options. You don't want to miss it. The 2023 Valspar Championship.
Hey guys, it's a new year, so are you looking for a new you to lose weight, lean up? There are many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there, but you know where to start? Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently, and many of these other approaches are designed for the masses, the quick weight loss, but it doesn't stay off, right? Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you, so the weight comes off safely without use of drugs that only work temporarily. So call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. And Chris will join us each Monday at 11:45 to talk about your wellness and the significant injuries to athletes in the sports world. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on. Welcome back. FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMFC.com, the Jeeves Law Group. Thank you guys for your sponsorship. All right, we're going to get into a little bit of Bucs news here. I believe it is Todd Monken's turn to chat with the Bucs about their offensive coordinator position, and I still believe that Todd Monken would not be talking to the Bucs about their offensive coordinator position if it did not include Tom Brady in some way.
I have to agree.
I just don't see why he would leave that cushy job at Georgia and not look at all the other offensive coordinator positions, which I think are probably better situations than the perceived lame duck situation here in Tampa of Todd Bowles, and not knowing who his quarterback. So yeah, leave the University of Georgia, $2 million, where you have all the recruits and everybody to look for, to work with, and come to Tampa Bay, where we're not sure if our head coach is going to be around and we don't know who our quarterback is. And we're going to be rebuilding and we have no cap money to spend. So come on down. I know he likes the area, but I don't think he likes it that much. Has to be Tom Brady involved in some way. So I think that's a good sign if you are one of those who wants to bring Tom Brady back.
I mean, at all costs, if I can I wouldn't let the guy leave the building, to be honest. Knock the socks off with the offer.
Todd
right
Monken?
Right away. Because Kellen Moore went straight off the market and off the market, in less than 24 hours?
He gone to the Chargers, right?
Before the Bucs could even get a chance to even get to him.
Yeah.
So he's off the board.
Mm-hmm.
We already mentioned all the other ones they have interviewed.
Right.
I believe the Dan Pitcher one I mentioned, I forgot that over the weekend he signed an extension with the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like he's going to stay put. So some of their options that maybe they wanted are kind of fading away a little bit. A lot of other teams, though, aren't really moving. I think it's only been, Los Angeles has picked their OC out, and I think one other team maybe?
Yeah.
That's it? And is this Monken's first interview?
I think.
Yeah.
I think it is. See what Peter Report has to say. Is interviewing for the Bucs job. Of course, he's coached with the Bucs before with Dirk Cutter. Bucs offense averaged 20.9 points, ranked 18th in 2017, and ranked 11th with 25 points a game in 2018. With Monken calling plays.
Yeah, here I got the list right here of the teams that are still open. Right.
All right.
So obviously the Bucs, the Commanders, quarterback problem.
Yeah. The organizational problem.
Yeah. The Rams, who appear to be on the downswing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Ravens.
No draft picks and salary cap issues.
The Ravens and the Titans. To me, obviously Baltimore seems the most buttoned up of those situations. Mm-hmm. But it's obviously a unique quarterback that you have to work with, and offense is something that team has never really been known for, I guess, necessarily. It's,
right.
Certainly that's what he needs. Right. They have some pieces there, but Baltimore, I guess, would seem like right now, take Tom Brady out of the equation right now, I guess that seems like the best opening around the league.
Organizationally, yeah. I mean, you have the quarterback there who's an MVP. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of Monken's system vis-a-vis a running quarterback.
Well, Stetson Bennett, I know he's not Lamar Jackson, but my God, can he move?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be attractive. Again, I don't see why it would be attractive to Tampa if not Tom Brady in the mix. And the reporting is out there that the Bucs are asking all of their coordinators, what is your Tom Brady plan?
Yeah.
Bring a plan and then a Tom Brady plan as well. What is your plan for that? So they're they're doing their due diligence. And I told you yesterday that the intel that I got over the weekend is that Brady is not going to Miami and looking at his other options. Now, the people at Get Up, this morning I was watching on ESPN, they have him signed, sealed, and delivered to San Francisco, which I don't understand on multiple levels. Number one, Brady has expressed that he doesn't want to go out west in terms of having his kids near him. He said that, I think, multiple times. I think he's also, I don't know if he said it specifically about not going to West Coast teams, but that, his kids are important to him when he wants to be around them. So obviously San Francisco would not work, certainly in that vein. But when you look at the situation in Tampa Bay, that seems to be his best situation if he wants to play. And that's what my source was telling me, that there was something that happened in Miami. I don't pretend to know what happened, but I think there was a lot of momentum towards Miami. And then whether it was the league saying that's not going to happen because of the tampering stuff, or if something else happened, that seems to be off the table now from what my source told me. So now he's back to looking at his other options. And I think, other than San Francisco and the Raiders, that option is Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but I have by no means
by the Raiders at all.
By no means do I have him signed, sealed, delivered to San Francisco, but I do think what happened yesterday is very, very significant with Brock Purdy tearing his UCL. It looks like at the minimum he's going to be out 6 months. So you got to think that puts him out to what? Around August?
Yeah.
So is he even going to be ready for the start of the season? I don't know. But even then, he went 8-0. But this has happened before. Maybe not to the extent of Brock Purdy where he went 8-0 and you won a lot, but we would agree that the situation he had around him helped him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All you got in the NFC Championship game out of him was 6 snaps.
Yeah.
You have nothing to go off of.
Right.
And you're going to have a long off season. You've been to the NFC Championship game, 3 of the last 4 seasons?
Mm-hmm.
Been to a Super Bowl once? Haven't won it yet? Windows are very short in the NFL. I said it that the only scenario I could see is if John Lynch gets really desperate and says, F it. Let's just go get Tom Brady. Let's do this. We have to maximize this window. We have the team. Let's go get the quarterback that's stable. I mean, you just lost 4 guys, right?
Right.
Tom Brady's never really gotten injured in his career. Right. That's one time. Every other quarterback for San Francisco seems to get hurt. So I do think it's very significant, and it's going to make San Francisco. I mean, you think San Francisco's not going to go after him at this point? I just can't see that.
Well, first of all, Trey Lance is their guy. He's coming back, and they have a lot invested in him. That's what they think. I
know they have a lot invested in him, but again, like I just said, windows are small in the NFL. John Lynch knows that more than anybody, right? Why in the world would you take such a risk like that with this team that you have?
Well, Brady not a risk? You have to change your entire offense.
Are you going to sit here and tell me he's the same risk as Trey Lance?
I just say Shanahan's very proud of what he does in his offense. And if he wanted Tom Brady, he could have had him by now.
But I'm saying right now, I think because of everything that's happened since 2020,
and I know
there's more information now that tells you that they might need Tom Brady.
Well, 2020 Tom Brady might have been good. 2023 Tom Brady, I don't know if he's as good.
True. But at the same time, we've been looking for this quote unquote perfect situation. And take the scheme.
I would agree with you that it's never been.
Take the scheme out of it. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey. We're talking about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle and Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of those guys at least 3 of those guys are going to find themselves in the Hall of Fame one day?
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about as similar to a situation in the best defense in the league. We're talking about as close to a situation that they had in Tampa Bay in 2020 here.
Yeah.
Things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if you're in this Super Bowl window and you've gotten this close to it so many times, it is a risk to go back. And I know I sound crazy because going into this weekend, I said that San Francisco was in the perfect spot, but an injury like that changes it for me.
Right.
It does change it for me.
They need another quarterback. There's no question. They need another quarterback to start the season. Now, how do you fit him under the salary cap? You got to go pay Bosa. There's other guys that are coming due. How do you?
Well, you figure it out. It's 1 year.
Yeah. I don't know what their salary cap situation is, but
I mean, they don't have to pay Jimmy Garoppolo now.
That's right.
So take 25, 26 mil right off the books.
Purdy and Lance are still on rookie contracts.
Brock Purdy's probably making the league minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if they think Purdy can come back and be a backup.
Yeah. Now compare everything I just told you about San Francisco. Okay, this is just assuming, let's say Tom Brady gets a phone call from John Lynch or the 49ers owner or whatever, right? and he has that option, and he has Tampa Bay. Take everything I just said about San Francisco, now go to Tampa Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a running game that was the worst running game in the NFL in the last 50 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you still have two really good receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end, maybe you'll have a second-year jump from K-Dot. And offensive line was in shambles last year. Defense seems to be trending in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a head coach that's considered lame duck.
Yeah.
Now, compare that situation.
Not very good.
And not a lot of money, by the way, to make this team better,
right.
Unless you really get creative, like we said, where they can create 60-something million cap space. They did get helped out yesterday because the cap is now going up 20-something, 30 million, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that'll help alleviate some of it. But you're going to have a lot of work. Whereas you go into San Francisco, there's nothing else they really have to do. So compare those two situations with your Tom Brady.
Well, I think
from a playing standpoint,
San Francisco is a better situation. No question about it. From a family standpoint, not as much. What's more important to him? And I know his family is out there, but his kids are not. But that, maybe they could make an adjustment to be out there. I mean, maybe Giselle would want to move out west. Who knows? But they're building houses in Miami. It's just weird. And
I don't know. It's hard to balance the whole family thing with this because, again, there's no precedent for this.
Yeah,
he's 46 years old. Going to be 46.
Going on.
Yeah, he does. But there's just no other player that is dealing with this in the NFL, at least to my knowledge. Especially that has kids that are as old as his are and all that and all these.
It's unique.
It's so unique. I can't
unique.
claim to know what he's prioritizing over other things.
Yeah. To me, that's why Tampa Bay makes more sense because it's close. It's closer to San Francisco's situation than any other situation.
It does. But before I was saying, Tampa Bay is the best option because I honestly wasn't even looking at San Francisco as an option until this happened this weekend.
Yeah.
Truthfully. I know everybody kept saying that, but
I know Scott Reynolds. And by the way, Scott not coming on this week because they are in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and they will have podcasts tonight and tomorrow from the Senior Bowl. So check that out on PeterReport.com and their Peter Report TV podcast channel on YouTube. But they're talking about drafting a wide receiver with the first overall pick. I think that's where Scott went with
with Zay Flowers from Boston College.
I think if you rework Donovan Smith's contract, you got to go get a tackle. I think you have a huge need for a tackle. Move Tristan Wirfs to the left side or draft a left tackle. I think and that's the only way you can get some cap flexibility is to get rid of that $17 million hit. You can get a lot more cap flexibility.
Yeah, you'd get $9 million, I think, of that.
Yeah, and I think you can also go out and use that for free agency if there's a tackle on the market too. So I think it gives them more flexibility.
Yeah, and I'd wonder though if you get Tom Brady back, what will the free agency, blueprint look like this time? Because if you're Jason you just went all in with veterans, Kyle Rudolph, Julio Jones, Akeem Hicks. I guess Logan Ryan was okay for when he played, right?
Yeah.
Keanu Neal. But none of these guys are going to be here now.
Yeah, those other three I would say no.
Yeah, he kind of fell on his face a little bit there.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Well, but I appreciate the opportunity. I mean, that's what he should have done. He should have gone all in for Brady's quote last year and do what he had to do. And I think those were – I think all of those, the worst thing, from what we know, I mean, they have a lot more information. I think they should have known Kyle Rudolph was spent because clearly he was.
Knew that first day of camp.
Yeah, he looked like a spry the first week, but it went quickly downhill for me. I was like, wow, he looks like he can run, and then it was like, oh, the next week it was like not so much.
Tampa Heat hit him.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, but and Julio certainly wasn't as advertised. I mean, but we knew that was a 50-50 risk at best, right? If he's healthy, he can probably help you, but he's not going to be healthy. And he wasn't
everything that happened with those free agent signings. Julio Jones is oft injured. Guess what? He was injured.
Yeah.
Akeem Hicks has been oft injured. Guess what? He was injured.
He was injured.
I mean, nothing was surprising there. No. But my point is that, we hear all the time, if you're getting Tom Brady, okay, well, then that means the guys you're going to sign are going to be veterans because he likes veterans, and they're going to be cheaper because you don't have a lot of money to play with. I get all that, but at the same time, I go back to Tom Brady is going to come back to where he thinks he can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It would be foolish on the Bucs' part to do the same exact thing next year that they did this year. And that's where I look at the roster construction. They need speed. And that's why
where are you going to get that?
And that's why this draft is so important. And don't tell me you can't do it in one draft, because I saw Kansas City play the other day.
Yeah.
And guess who led them to that victory outside of Mahomes? The rookies.
Yeah.
And the Bucs, Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield, right? It can happen.
Yeah.
It's just so important at this time it happens.
You got to hit on the right
season.
guys. You got to hit on the right guys. yeah, this draft class is huge for Jason Light. And I will say this: when Bruce Arians and his staff got involved in the draft, they were better, dramatically better. But what is Bruce's role now in this team? Probably nil, I would think. After Byron got fired, I don't know how much money he's going to be around. So, look, but again, everything hinges on Brady. And when are we going to know? When are we going to know? And he won't even give us a timeline, because if he effing knew, he'd effing tell us, right? So, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. And I think things are probably more clear, though. I think, more information is coming in now that I think within the next week, we'll have most of the hirings out of the way. So he'll know what's what and have a better feel for what the options are. I think the Bucs will probably have an OC by next week. And, I'm sure they're in touch with Brady and say, what do you think about Monken? What do you think about Keenan McCardell? What do you think about Kubiak? I mean, all of this, I think they're getting his input. I wonder if he's involved in the interview process at all.
Who, Tom Brady?
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't be, if he's thinking about coming back and he's still property of the Buccaneers.
That's true.
I mean, if I were him, I'd want to be involved. At least, pop in for 10, 15 minutes and talk to each candidate, right? I would. If I were the Bucs, I'd want that.
I'd want it for Monken.
Yeah, I'd want it for Monken for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
I mean that. I don't want to let that guy stray too far away.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't, because I do think that of all the options that are out there, this is the number one option. The number one option. Right now, I don't think it's close.
What with the situation with San Francisco?
No, I'm talking about Monken. I'm just talking specifically to Monken.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if the Bucs really want this guy, and clearly they do, and that's what everybody's saying, that they are kind of like really in on it. Like, okay, show us you are.
Yeah.
Get this guy signed then, because I think he's the number one play caller that's on the market.
I know one way, like I told you yesterday, to definitely get him to say
your
yes.
way is unlikely. Your way is unlikely.
Why is it so unlikely?
Mine's practical and makes sense.
Why is it so unlikely?
I just can't see that happening.
I don't see it happening. I don't think the Glazers are bold enough to make it.
Which, for those who didn't hear that, by the way, JP thinks that the Glazers should fire Todd Bowles and make Todd Monken the head coach.
Offer him the DC position.
Again, Todd Bowles is not taking a resignation, or a demotion rather, back to defensive
He
coordinator.
got a promotion.
And he's not taking a demotion.
Why not?
A demotion is, see ya, I'll go be a defensive coordinator somewhere else.
And you got to uproot your family, do all that stuff again. I'm gonna give you the same amount of money. You keep your head coach salary, but I gotta bring in a little extra juice, like I did with Gruden. I want to bring in a little extra juice, get the offense going again, and Brady will come back. If Brady said, I'll come back, and Monken said, well, I'm not coming there unless you make me the head coach.
Yeah, because Todd Monken's going to say that.
Well, what if he did?
He's not saying that.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he?
He's interviewing for the offensive coordinator position. Todd Monken is not telling anybody
I love
with
bringing
Todd
up
Bowles.
these great scenarios, though. It's so fun.
I know you love coming out with these theories.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. No, of course, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if crazier things have happened, right?
I guess.
What if, of course, Todd Monken wants to be a head coach at some point, and it's like you said, how bad do you want him? Make him a deal to make sure he stays here?
Okay, well, if next year falls flat on its face or whatever, then you can make Todd Monken the head coach after that.
Why wait? I've seen enough from the lack of accountability on this team. And, that comes from your quarterback, by the way. Your quarterback talking about the game day effort, talk about the lack of details, sloppiness, all that stuff. The head coach is ultimately responsible for all that. And I think, Todd Bowles has one regret. It's that he didn't fire Byron Leftwich in the middle of the season. But I'm just
I missed this. Richie said Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka all over again. What? Someone catch me up here. What am I missing?
I think this happened before.
What did I miss there? This is long before my time. Apparently they had a rivalry. I just Googled it.
Yeah.
Did Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka get along? No.
They did not.
That's what it says here.
Yeah,
no.
They did not. But they won a Super Bowl together.
Mm-hmm.
And then Buddy became the head coach.
Oh, that's what happened. Buddy became the head coach. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Still don't see it happening.
What would the Glazers do? If Tom Brady said, I know exactly what they would do.
I'll tell you what the Glazers should do.
They would say, okay, let's do it.
I'll tell you what the Glazers should do.
What?
More important piece of business. Sell the damn team.
Manchester United?
Yes. Get that over with, please. And buy some players. Today's the transfer window and time's ticking. Let's go. That's what the Glazers need to do today.
Is this the Premier League portion of the show?
Yeah, the because I'm fired up because today's the transfer window and we're doing nothing over here.
Fill me in.
Well, we got lack of squad depth right now, and one of our best midfielders, a starter, is out now till May. Okay, all these other teams around them are all signing players because the window is tonight, right? And then you can't sign anybody till the summer. Manchester United has a chance to win some trophies, but they have an injury now. They're doing nothing to address it because this is how the board is. So I need the Glazers to sell the team and move aside and get all your buddies out of the club. That's what needs to happen.
Okay.
So that's what the Glazers need to do.
All right.
Rather than focusing on the Bucs.
By the way, you have OC interviews, and this guy wants to be the head coach, and he's bringing Tom Brady with him. Monken and Brady don't have any connection, though, right?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah, we would know it by now, certainly, right? They ran into each other at the bathroom at the Pro Bowl one year. That's about it. But other than that, no. I just that to me is a great question mark. Because just based on Todd Bowles' performance last year and the team's performance and what you saw on the field, the lack of accountability, the mistakes, all that stuff, the bad game management, you don't think you have a case to fire him?
Oh, I'm not saying you don't have a case to fire him. I just can't see the Glazers making that move right now. I just can't. I just don't think Todd Monken. I think Todd Monken is a fantastic offensive coordinator. I think trading an uncertainty at head coach for another uncertainty for a head coach just doesn't seem like a smart decision. The only reason you're making that move, like I said, is if you're getting a super splash.
True.
And I don't think that super splash is even. No, it's not Monken. I know who it is, and I don't think he's coming here. So.
Sean Payton.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't think he's coming back to coach this year.
No, I don't think so either. All right, we'll take another break. We'll come back and we'll wrap things up here for today. We'll give you a little overview on what Ken Hagan had to say. He joined us earlier today, in case you missed that, and where they go from here. Stay with us. Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and Gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. Where emerging investigations, we get results in life's biggest matters.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Hey, folks, it's still engagement season, and where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry super center with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to wait to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in. They have everything right there in-house, so why go anywhere else? And you can get up to 15% off this January if you buy something with the birthstone, which is garnet. Garnet and gold, Florida State, get something for your favorite Seminole. And let's not forget the Emily collection from Emily Johnson Weintraub. Very affordable, real gold and diamond jewelry, always stylish and unique. Emily has created this fashion-forward gold, diamond, and gemstone jewelry line ideal for everyday wear. Each piece is designed to enhance your look by featuring eye-catching, modern geometrical shapes. Really unique stuff. Got to check it out. And, of course, Julie and Steve Weintraub, great benefactors here in the local community. So let's keep it local. And you can get 0% financing for up to 5 years. Get a big ring for a little price. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and Italiano Insurance. Great time to do your insurance checkup. Just give them a call at 813-877-7799 and have them shop around all your insurance, because I know it's going through the roof, especially your homeowner's insurance. Sometimes new companies come in and will discount their rates a little bit to try and get some new business. You never know, but let them shop it around. Doesn't cost you a penny to let them do that. You don't know. Maybe your carrier is one of the higher ones. So 813-877-7799. They can shop your auto, your business, all kinds of insurance.
Hey, just before we get last
carpet insurance in case your puppy goes.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh my
He's like,
goodness.
Did you have Tally as a puppy? I'm like, of course I did. Yeah.
I am never.
She chewed up two different carpets in apartments. Cost me a couple $1,000.
Yeah, we're approaching
shoes.
That. We're approaching that. It's like shoes have to be above ground level, like at all times. Everything has to be above ground level.
Oh yeah.
And this morning, 5:30 in the morning, hands and knees with a carpet cleaner, a big noise making machine at 5:30 in the morning.
There you go.
Because somebody wanted to go splat. And we bought. This is poor on us.
You had them in the
Huh?
I thought you had him in the cage.
Yeah,
That's your crate training him.
Turn him away. You turn away for like 2 seconds, and he's already doing his business, and he went splat on a white carpet. Poor planning on our part to get a big white carpet in the living room. This is awful.
It's worth it though, man.
Well,
I'm lifelong. It only that's only a few months of that, and then you have your little puppy to play with. Think of all the joy.
I tell you what, he's got the same tendencies as Tally though. Like the way he scoops up the ball, Tally goes in like a full head of steam and makes it look so easy.
Yeah,
he's starting to get the same way now.
There you go.
So he's getting closer to it.
There you go.
And I'm praying for that day.
Listen, I don't know what I'd do without my dog. Without Tally, last few years have not been easy, but to have someone to talk to, and we do talk, we have conversations, and it's amazing. It's great therapy. That's why they have these dogs as therapy dogs, and I highly recommend it. It's hard. The puppy part, it's just like having a kid, by the way. Wait till you have kids. Same thing. They don't necessarily do it on the carpet, but you still got to change their diapers, and that smells. Woo! Wow. I don't know to be talking about my kids on the air, but Cullen, damn.
All I'll tell you is the early stages of having a puppy are making me reconsider how fast I want to get to other things in my life.
This is why people your age aren't having kids anymore. It's a huge sacrifice, but your mom did it, didn't she?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's a huge sacrifice, and it's a much bigger sacrifice now than it's ever been, I think. Because it's just it's tougher. It's tougher to raise kids now than it's ever been. All right, FSU football schedule is out. Interesting. They start at Orlando against LSU September 3rd, Labor Day weekend. That is a huge game because the rest of their schedule pretty soft. They got Southern Miss at home, then at Boston College on the 16th. That'll be a nice trip to Boston. It won't be too cold. And then at Clemson on the 23rd, huge game, obviously. And then they're off the next week. Not having an off week before Clemson, but after Clemson. Then they got Virginia Tech at home, Syracuse at home, Duke. So I have 3 straight weekends at home. This is not good. The people in Tallahassee, the hoteliers will not be happy with this schedule at all. So they have 1 home game on the 9th. Then they have 3 in October, back to back, Tech, Syracuse, and Duke. Then they're at Wake Forest, at Pitt. And then they got Miami at home November 11th. That's going to be awesome. Then they got North Alabama at home. It's terrible. And then they're at Florida on the 25th. So very manageable schedule. Their non-conference is LSU.
Yeah, I just put it up there on the
Southern
stream
Miss
so everybody can see it.
And North Alabama.
Yeah.
I
know. I looked at that schedule last night, and I'm like, you know what? When people say that they could get into the national championship conversation with that schedule, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, Florida, at the end of the year, maybe they'll be better, but I don't expect them to be a great football team next year.
Or Miami.
Miami.
How much of a jump are they going to make?
Yeah, you don't know.
They got a lot of talent. I'm not going to deny that.
They got good young talent that hadn't come to fruition last year, but, that last year was a disaster.
Yeah, a big disaster.
45-3 disaster at home. FSU kicked your ass. You're going to come back and you're going to be that much better the next year. By the way, FSU is better.
Yeah.
So
hey, by the way, speaking of the schedule reveal, because this was just,
I think they're favored in every game except at Clemson and maybe the LSU game.
Yeah, even that one I feel like I put right down the middle.
Yeah.
But about that schedule reveal, why? And I know the answer to the question, but is there really a demand to have a 2-hour live special for a schedule release? Like, is it so hard just to put it all in like a nice little graphic like the Florida State's did right here, which I have on the stream?
Who did a 2-hour schedule release?
That's what happened last night. I think it was like the ACC network. That's how the schedule came out. Wow. They did a 2-hour schedule release
on a Monday night.
Do we need that though?
Well, what else? What else are they going to do?
Are people that enamored with knowing the schedule in February?
Well, I think people want to make their travel plans,
Oh my gosh. And don't even get me started on the UCF people that were freaking out about their schedule release yesterday.
What's wrong with their schedule?
The schedule is weak. The schedule is weak. Why aren't we playing Texas and Oklahoma at home? Like, who cares? It's just a schedule. You just play who's on it.
Miami has Miami of Ohio at home. Then they have Texas A&M at home on September 9th. That's interesting. So you have at Miami playing Texas A&M and FSU playing LSU. I like that. ACC, SEC early in the season. Bethune-Cookman, then at Temple. Georgia Tech at home, at North Carolina on the 14th, October 14th. Clemson at home. Virginia at home, then at North Carolina State, at FSU. Louisville at home, and at Boston College on November 24th on a Friday. So now do we have the Gators schedule?
I don't think the SEC's released their schedule
yet. Released theirs yet? Okay. All right, cool.
So much suspense.
Yeah, by the way, so Ken Hagan was on earlier, and I think one of the big takeaways I got from that is they need to find a developer. They need to find a developer to jump on board with Daryl Shaw. And Daryl Shaw obviously is a developer, but he needs a bigger company behind him with deep, deep pockets. Who's that going to be? I don't know, but they're actively looking for it. That's going to be a very important piece. And I think once if they can find a willing deep pocket investor, and as I said to Ken, what better place than downtown Tampa in America, one of the fastest growing places. Plus you have a baseball partner and on the waterfront. I mean, that's a pretty, as developing options go, I would say that's pretty strong.
By the way, isn't there also like a mayor election coming up in Tampa too?
Yes, there is.
That may be like a factor in why.
Well,
things in Tampa may be a little bit more quiet right now.
Oh, people say that, but the fact of the matter is the city really doesn't play a big part in this. The commissioner, it's the county that holds the purse strings, even though I think that's city land. It's the county that holds the purse strings that I've been told that has most of the power here. That the mayor really doesn't have much. Now, if you get a mayor in there who's really pro baseball and wants to make it happen, which I don't think I would put Jane Castor in that. I think Jane has played this very much down the middle. I don't think she's been a huge advocate. I don't think she's been an impediment. But I don't think she's championed it.
I don't think she's been as involved as she probably needs to be.
Yeah, I don't think she's. I think she should do a lot more if she wanted to get involved more directly. But I don't think she does. I don't think that's part of her priorities, and I don't think she's going to win. By the way, I think she's got a really, really tough after the way she's handled COVID and a lot of different other things. I think it's and I love the mayor personally, politically.
Not a fan. Until today, I literally had no idea that there even was a mayor election going on.
Yeah.
I'm so far removed from that world.
And I don't know. And I don't know if there's any challengers that have stepped up yet, but I'll be interested to see who it is.
No bearing on my world.
Yeah. Well, if they bring you a new baseball stadium in Tampa,
then it has bearing on my world.
All right. That'll do it for us today. We appreciate you guys jumping in here. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. If you want to hear that Ken Hagan interview, just download the app. FanStream Sports, all one word. Just tap that app and go to the 30-minute mark, and you will get Ken Hagan's interview. You can always on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, just roll it right back, and you can get right to it at the 30-minute mark. Very interesting comments from him. And we will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.